un saņemamies!
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon. That's quite an act to follow. But I'm honored to be here. I'm happy I was asked to come and talk. I'm the director of the ADIZES office here in Latvia, part of ADIZES International Worldwide. I live in Latvia, and I'm really honored, and it's a privilege that I get to live and work in your nice country. Now, today I want to spend a few minutes talking about how companies develop and how leadership styles work through that company development. But what I want to start with, what we need to start with, is to understand, first of all, what is it that management needs to do to make sure an organization is well managed? And really, there's only 4 things. Now, first of all, the management needs to make the organization effective. Now, what does that mean, right? If it's effective, if this is effective, what does it do? It advances slides, maybe it has a little light on it, but it does what it was designed to do. It fulfills its purpose. Now, what's the purpose of an organization? I already gave you the answer. Many people will say, make money, more profits. But even before that, there's a more basic purpose. And that purpose has to be to provide for client needs. If we can't do that, nobody's going to pay us. Even a monopoly has to provide something that people will pay for. So providing client needs makes us effective. And it makes the organization functional. Right? Now, is this enough for a well-managed organization? Not quite. We also need to control our resources. Right? We need to be efficient. And how do organizations build efficiency? They become systematic. Processes, systems, they get organized, and this is administration. This is an A function, an A role. So we have a P role and an A role in the organization. So we can provide for client needs, we can do it efficiently, and now we get a profit. So at ADIZES, when we think about profit, we don't think about it as the purpose. We think about it as what you get if you fulfill your purpose efficiently. Now, is this enough for a well-managed organization? Well, in the short term, perhaps, but why only in the short term? If I can manufacture a telephone that's highly functional, fulfills everybody's client needs, they buy it, and I can do it efficiently, how long can I sell this same phone for? And people will keep buying it. 6 months, maybe a year, and then what happens? There's this thing called change, right? Everything changes. The competition changes, markets change, the environment changes, the climate changes, everything changes. And so in the long run, to be effective, our organization also has to change. It has to be entrepreneurial. We need new ways of doing things, new processes, new products, right? And when we can do that, we're being innovative. So we hear a lot about change, and we need to be able to react to change, but that's not really it. Reacting to change is too slow. It's being proactive, right? It's leading change. It's imagining where the future is going to go, taking a risk and starting to move there. And that's what all the best companies actually do. So this is an E role in the organization. Now, what about efficiency in the long run? What do we do for efficiency? Where does that come from? Well, this E role, this entrepreneurial role, is about change. And you all know what happens when you try to introduce change into an organization. People fight it. Some people think it's great, yeah, let's do it. Other people say, wait, we should do it this way or that way, or we should not do anything. And they start pulling the organization in different directions. That's not efficient at all. The organization struggles and doesn't really change. So what you need to do is to be able to integrate people around the change, align them around the change, and get everybody to change together. Right? This is the I role. And by doing that, we make the organization organic. It's like the human body. As you grow and develop, everything changes together. Right? You don't have different parts changing and not changing and things like that. Everything grows and changes together. And the organization should be the same way. So these 4 roles, PAEI roles, are all that's needed for good management. If management can do these 4 things in the right mix at the right time, it'll be a well-managed organization, effective and efficient both in the short term and the long term. Right? Now, these 4 roles are also, they're like vitamins for a company. And just like as we grow and develop, we need a different mix of vitamins, so does the company. So as the company's developing, what's interesting to understand is what is the correct mix of this P, A, E, and I roles? And to understand that, what we look at is the organizational life cycle. Right? So here we've got 10 main stages of the organizational life cycle and some dysfunctional stages. Today we're going to focus only on the green, because that's all we have time for, and also because 95% of the companies in here are in growth phase. They're not on the aging side of the organization. Right? But all organizations are born, they grow, age, and die. But we'll start down there in courtship. Now, what does courtship mean? Courtship is a time in a relationship between a man and a woman before they get married. They've decided they're going to get married, and the man is courting the woman. Now, what's the guy's state of mind at this point? Right? He looks at this woman, and what does he see? She's perfect, no flaws. Right? She's absolutely perfect. And in his mind, they're going to get married and live happily ever after. It's not very objective. In a company, courtship is the time when a founder just has an idea. There's no company yet. And he falls in love with his idea. Right? Gets very excited, is visioning the future, is going to change the future, gets other people involved, building commitment and things like that. Right? And what role is this? This is the E role. This is about seeing the future, how we're going to change things. Right? So the E role at this stage is very strong. But we still have to have some P, which is thinking about what clients need, some A to do some planning, some I to get people to work together. And if we're missing one of those, it ends in a affair. The company never starts. The couple never got married, they just had fun for a while. But if the founder gets these people together and they start a company, they move to the next stage, which is called infancy. Now, this is a startup company. And startup companies have one major goal, which is survival. Right? They need to get cash. And so what they need to do is just push into the market, push and stop changing things. You don't want to change your product a lot. You build it, and then you go out and try to sell it. Right? You only change it in relation to what customers tell you they want and need. So in infancy, there's a change, there's a shift in what the focus is. Now it just becomes, let's go out and drive into the market and find customers and make sales and get money in. Right? Now, if they can't do that, we still have to have A. We have to be able to count how much money we're making and spending. We need E because we need to be creative and change how we approach customers. And I, we still have to work together. Okay? But if one of those is missing, the company can fall into infant mortality, right? And it dies, which is where most startups go. But if we have a good founder with a strong team and they work hard and they get a little bit lucky, they build it to cash flow positive and become sustainable, again, the focus changes from survival to now we move into growth phase and market share. Try to get as many people as possible to buy from us. And what happens? We get more customers. We get more employees. We get more customer orders. We get more suppliers. We have more raw materials. It's just more and more, and it's a lot of change to manage. And so the E comes back in. We're moving into new markets, developing new products, things like that, right? The administration, the A role, is still quite small because these go-go companies, these high-growth companies, they don't have a lot of systems and processes in place, and they develop them reactively. When there's a problem, they develop a process, system to take care of it so it doesn't happen again. Right? Now, companies can stay in this phase, in this stage, for a long, long time. This is a company run by a founder. And there are people in here who have had their companies for more than 20 years. Right? Just working in the company, you have your team, and you sell things, and that's okay, right? That's a go-go company. That's a founder-centered company. It's an entrepreneurial managed company. But at some point, there needs to be a transition. There needs to be a transition from entrepreneurial management to professional management. And why? Because one day the founder's going to be gone. And what happens when the founder's gone? Right? The company tends to struggle. Okay? Unless they've built a strong management team, a professional management team. And so there's a transition that has to happen. And this transition is very difficult. It's from becoming a child company to becoming an adult company. It's like becoming from a child to an adult is called adolescence. Those are the teenage years. And we all know what those years are like. Right? It can be a real struggle. So this transition of moving from entrepreneurial management to professional management is very important, very difficult to do. It means the founder needs to give up some control. It means that they need to get more organized. Instead of running the company at the will of the founder and the founder making all the decisions, it needs to be run by systems and processes. And there needs to be people that can do that. Right? And so when managers start this, when they start to move into this stage, what they tend to do is hire a new manager. Right? Hire a professional manager, come in, take over. I want to move out of the company. They hire a new one, and a couple things might happen. One is they micromanage this person because they know how to run the company. And after a few months, this person quits because he can't get anything done. The other thing that happens is they are hands off and say, you take over the company. And the new professional manager knows that the company needs systems and processes, tries to put those things in place, and meets resistance. Right? Because what's really needed is more A in the organization. And what happens is you have an entrepreneurial organization, and you try to bring in administration, and they don't go together. Right? They don't fit. Entrepreneurial people don't like being put in boxes. They don't like filing reports. They don't like systems and processes. They've never needed them before. Right? But that's really what the company needs. And if it can't make this transition, it falls into the founder's trap, where there's a founder is trying to get out of the company and trying, and they can't get out. They don't know how. But if they do make the transition, they move into prime. Right? And this is now a professionally managed company. In adolescence, we build profits in because we're getting more organized, more systematized. We bring A in. And in prime, now we can build market share and profits at the same time. Now, as you look at these stages, this is all different leadership styles. It's the leader that has to drive this. In courtship, the leader's the visionary, right? Has this great new idea how we're going to change the world and is building excitement. When you move into infancy, he has to become, the go-getter, the person that's pushing everybody. Go out and sell more and sell more and sell more. And then when you become cash flow positive, move into go-go, again, the vision comes back in. Right? It's still there a little bit in infancy. It still has to be there, but it's not as powerful, and it's not as much change in infancy. In go-go, the person has to lead the change, the drive into new markets, the drive for new products and things like that. And then as they move into adolescence, the leadership style is what? It's giving up your power, your place in the company, to somebody else, which is very difficult to do. Right? And then by the time you get to prime, if you stay in the company, which we like to do is have them stay in the company because they're the entrepreneurial spirit of the company. So if they stay in the company, they become a support role, right? Which is, again, a very different leadership style. So going through these stages, there's changes in the leadership style. There's changes in the culture. These are all cultural changes as well. And the leader has to lead that. And so this is why we need flexibility in companies and flexibility in leadership styles. Okay. That transition from go-go to prime is very difficult. I'm sure some of you are in companies that are struggling with this. If you are, find somebody that can help you, because there's ways to get through it. You have to do the right things in the right order at the right time. You have to build a management team that is independent of you and can actually make decisions independent of you and run the company. Right? And so on the other side is the aging side. We're not going to go there today because we don't have enough time. We'll have to save that for another talk. But thank you very much. If you're struggling with this, please come talk to me. and I'll see what I can do to help you. Thank you.